Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Hi, John. Hope you're doing good.
Hello.
Yeah. So, the first question would be, what is software testing according to you?
Software testing is testing for defects in software. It's basically looking for defects based on making sure that the software meets the expectations.
Okay, fine. So then, what is a defect?
A defect is a mistake in software code.
Okay. Then what is an error?
An error is the same as a defect, but well, an error is a mistake in software code. A defect is what developers call an error.
Okay. Fine. So, what is acceptance testing?
User acceptance testing is testing in the maintenance phase. Right. Okay. So yeah, user acceptance testing is testing in the maintenance phase after the testing phase.
Okay. So, can you explain me what is top-down testing? What is top-down approach and bottom-up approach?
Top-down approach. Top-down approach is when top-down approach is when the bottom module is incomplete, and testing in the bottom-up approach is when the upper module is incomplete in testing.
So, what are the components that are used when you're doing a top-down approach? What is it called as?
Drivers, I think it's the top-down approach. His name is I think it's called like drivers.
Okay, and then bottom-up?
In the bottom-up approach.
Okay, not an issue. Tell me, what is Big Bang testing?
I'm sorry?
What is Big Bang testing?
Big Bang testing. I don't know that one.
Okay, fine. Okay, not an issue. Can you tell me what's the difference between a test scenario and a test case?
I'm sorry, what is the difference between
the test scenario and test case?
A test scenario is it's a testing situation. It's the premise of your testing, and a test case is test case, I think I know what it is. I just don't know how to.
Okay, not an issue. That's fine. Okay. So, can you tell me some positive and negative test cases that you would test with respect to a blackboard or a whiteboard? You can check a whiteboard. You know what is a whiteboard, right? Where we write something on.
I'm sorry, may you say it one more time?
Okay, so just tell me some scenarios that you will test with respect to a whiteboard.
Whiteboard. Whiteboard. Well, I don't know what whiteboard is, but I can give you positive and
Whiteboard
negative.
is a board which is used, for say a writing purpose. You can use some kind of pens and you can write on that board so that everybody can view it. In classroom,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you might have used that board. Or you
Okay.
can take for an example of a book. You can tell me the scenarios that you will test for a book.
A book. Okay. So a positive test case would be. I think I've used something similar to whiteboard before. Now that you described it, I guess a positive test case for whiteboard would be maybe being able to change the color of the marker tip will be a positive test case. Being able to switch colors for the marker tip, and a negative test case would be that the whiteboard doesn't expand to the full window. It's only shown in a small window would be a negative test case. Another positive test case would be in whiteboard would be being able to save a whiteboard presentation would be a positive test case. A negative test case would be a negative test case would be not able to minimize the whiteboard presentation window.
Okay, not an issue. So tell me what is a life cycle of a defect?
The life cycle, or defect life cycle, defect life cycle. I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine. Not an issue. So tell me that test scenario that you will use to test a spectaculars. To test a spectaculars, what kind of test cases or what kind of testing you will do to test it?
For testing specs, that would be non-functional testing.
Like what kind of non-functional testing you will use?
I'm sorry.
What kind of non-functional testing you will be using for testing a specs?
System, or is it system testing?
Non-functional testing includes?
I'm sorry.
Non-functional testing includes?
Non-functional testing includes, I think, system testing and regression testing is.
Okay. Then what includes in the functional testing?
I'm sorry.
What is included in the functional testing? What kind of testing is functional testing?
Functional testing is testing, I guess, functional testing would include white box, black box, and gray box testing, and it's just testing the functionality of the software.
Okay, fine. So what is globalization and localization?
Globalization is globalization is making sure that it's making sure that different different languages are understood, and localization is making sure that the viewer sees things like currency, time, and language in their own local area.
Okay, great. So John, tell me what is difference between black box testing and white box testing?
Black box testing is black box testing is testing only the user interface without knowing the code. Without knowing the code on the back end. White box testing is testing with knowledge of the code. And gray box testing is a mixture of white box and black box. It's basically testing the UI with knowledge of the code.
Okay, great. So John, tell me what is cross browser testing?
Cross-browser testing is testing the software across different browsers, like Chrome, IE, and Safari.
Okay, John, one last question from my side. Tell me what is difference between test case and test scenarios?
Test. So a test case is our test scenario is it's like a premise of on what you're testing, like it's like an example of it's an example of a scenario that you're using to test. A test case would, I didn't know how to describe that one in words.
Okay, no worries. So suppose let's say there is one website and login functionality is there, and I would say write test scenarios for that. Then means how you will write that? Means what are different test scenarios for login functionality?
So I'm sorry, may you say that one more time?
There is an website and login functionality is there into that website, and let's say I ask you to write down the test scenarios for that login functionality. Then what will be the different scenarios?
The test scenarios for logging in. Okay, to I guess it will be, the description would be to verify how to log in to this website. That would be the description of that test case.
Okay, so Deep, I'm done from my side. Over to you.
Right. So with this, we come to today at the end of today's interview session. So before we end, is there any question that you would like to ask to any one of us?
What would be the main function of your manual tester? Like, would they be doing one specific type of testing or a bunch of different types of testing together?
Right. So the thing is that when you are working in a project, there will be a lot of scenarios that you will be dealing in. It's not only one specific type of testing that you would be handling. It will be multiple test scenarios, test cases that you will have to work on. So yes, it will be a multiple job profile that you will be working in one project. Yeah.
Okay. I would then no, thank you. I think that's everything.
That's great. Having said that, we come to the end of today's interview session. Thank you for joining in, John. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, John. Thanks, Deep, for doing it.